Hi everyone, this is Heather and I am back with another card tutorial for you, and today I'm going to show you how I made this adorable flying pig card. How cute is that? So it's like you're looking out the window and you're seeing her fly by, and it says she believed she could, so she did. And I am using one of the brand new sets from Stampin' Up called This Little Piggy, and it is one of my, sorry for the glare, it is one of my favorite new sets from the new 2017 catalog. It's this really cute, just plain pig with hugs and kisses, this little piggy, and then it has words that go with that. It says thanks, loves you. Then the one that we're going to use today, the flying pig, and then the little pig with the flower that says you make me happy. So cute. So what you're going to need is just a pink card base. I'm just cutting an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock in half, and I've already scored it. Then you're going to need a piece of brown cardstock, and it is 5 1/4 by 4. Then you're going to need a pattern base, and this is also from Stampin' Up! From the Whole Lot of Lovely paper set. This is the kind of leaf pattern on the back. This is just a really pretty pink and white floral pattern, and this has been cut to 5 by 3 3/4 inches. Then out of the same brown cardstock, I've used the, see if you can see this, I've used the Hearth and Home window die, also from Stampin' Up, and out of the same brown cardstock, I've cut the window. I've just pre-die cut that with my die cut machine. And then I also have a piece of watercolor paper and a piece of just clear window sheet acetate. And both of these are cut to 3 inches by 2 1/4. So once again, this is what we're working on. So I'm going to set that off to the side. So the first thing we're going to do is just layer up our papers. So I'm just using regular adhesive runner. I'm going to lay the brown cardstock down on the pink base and make sure that my fold's going in the right direction. Have you ever done that? Made your fold be on the wrong side? I sure have. And then on the back of our pattern paper, it's some adhesive. And we're going to adhere that down on top of the brown. Get that centered on there. And my brown's not exactly how I would like it. So one of the nice things I do like about this Tombow tape runner is that you can peel it off and reposition it. There we go, that's a little straighter. Okay, so there's our cardstock base. I'm going to set that aside for now. So just the pink cardstock base with the brown cardstock and the pink pattern paper on top. And then we're going to grab our piece of watercolor paper, and here's the little piggy with the words. So I don't want the words to show just yet. We're going to stamp them off in a little bit. So I'm actually going to mask them off. So I'm just using a little piece of just Scotch tape. You could use washi tape or repositionable tape. You could even use masking paper. And so we're just going to lay the tape across the words so that when we ink this up, no ink gets on the words. And because we're watercoloring today, we're going to be using a Stays On permanent ink because it will not smear when we apply water to it. I'm just going to ink our little piggy up. Check and make sure she's got lots of ink. Okay, and then here's the very most important step. Now remove the tape. Don't stamp yet until you've removed that tape because you've got all that lovely messy ink on there. And so we're gonna stamp the little pig on the watercolor paper. It's down good so that we get a good image. So that looks good. So see, now the words didn't stamp. And I'm gonna clean that off really well because we're gonna need it again in a little while to stamp the words. So now we're gonna take the little small cloud stamp from the set and stamp a few clouds around her. It's okay if they go off the edge. Little cloud down here. Clean that off my, and that's going to stain my mat just a little bit because it stays on ink, but that's okay. This mat gets messy. So there she is flying by with the little clouds. Set that off to the side. So I'm using watercolor pencils from Stampin' Up. You can use whatever watercolor pencils that you have, or any coloring medium that you like. You could use Copic markers or regular watercolors. So I'm using a gray, kind of a light pink, and kind of a brighter, almost a hot pink. And I'm also using a water brush. You could also just use a paint brush, or sometimes these are called like an aqua pen. So if you're not familiar with these, there's a little paintbrush on the end, and there's water in the chamber so that when you squeeze it out, the water's there, but you could just use a standard paintbrush as well. But I just like these, they're really convenient. And I'm so clumsy that if I have a cup of water on my table, I'll probably dump it over. So I just like using the aqua brush better. So I'm using the paler pink, and we're just going to start out with a heavier layer of the pencil around the back side and belly. And the nice thing with colored pencils is you don't have to add a lot of color, because you're going to be able to kind of pull some of that color out. So I'm just kind of going around the outside, and you can always go back in and add color. So I like to lay down the pencil, use the water, then lay down another color, and then use the water. You can lay all your colors down at the same time if you would like. This is just how I like to do it. So I'm just kind of pulling that color out away towards the little center of the pig there. And if I feel like I don't have enough color, even while it's wet, that's okay. You can go back in and add a little bit more pencil, give it a little bit more shading and shadow. Squeeze that out. There we go. Okay, it's looking pretty good. So have a little bit of shading and shadowing there. And I'm going to go in with the, with the hot pink and add a little to the nose, the inside of the ear, and give them a nice big rosy cheek. I'm just gonna, again, pull some of that color in. So I'm kind of doing this quickly. You can take your time. So there's our little piggy. I'm still not really happy with the belly there, so let's add just a little bit more color and see if we can get a little bit more blending here. Okay, I'm happy with that now. All right, so we've got that. And then we're gonna add just a little bit of gray to her little hooves. Nope, and I need a little bit of pink on the tail there. And I'm just using a paper towel just to kind of wipe off in between the colors. Back over there and get the little tail. Okay. So we've got that done. So set that off to the side. And now I'm going to grab a small sponge dauber, just like the kind that fit on your finger. Any kind of a small sponge will work. You could even use a makeup applicator. And I'm using the Tranquil Tide ink from Stampin' Up. And I'm going to lightly tap. This is a really dark ink. I'm just going to lightly tap that sponge dauber, and then I'm going to tap off some of the excess onto my paper towel, and then just kind of lightly go around the pig and the clouds You can do it as light or as dark as you want. And if you wanted to mask these off, you could. I'm not too worried about it. So just kind of lightly tap that color around so that there's a blue sky behind her. Tap, 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 tap. And kind of use the edges a little bit to get into some of the smaller spaces. So we've got our blue sky. And then I wanted to add a little bit of shimmer. I'm not sure if you can see it in the card. You can see it in person on the wings and the clouds. So I'm using a clear Wink of Stella brush, which is an awesome way to add a little bit of shimmer. So on the wings and the clouds, I'm gonna add some sparkle there. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not. Add just a little bit more. So the recipient will definitely be able to see it. So let's see if you can see some of that sparkle there on the clouds and the wings. So now we're going to grab our die cut window and our piece of acetate that we've cut, and I'm going to lay the window face down and lay the acetate over those openings and just put a little bit of Scotch tape in place to hold it. My Scotch tape is kind of wide, so I'm going to tear it into some kind of thinner strips just so it doesn't slip. So at the top and at the bottom, I'm just going to tape that acetate down like that. And then I'm going to grab some little foam squares. If you have like the foam that's on a roll, you could cut it into pieces. But I love these tiny little ones for these smaller projects. So just in a few of the corners, different spaces, so that the foam tape doesn't show, we're going to add that foam tape. So I just wanted a little bit of distance between the window and the pig. So I'm going to peel off the backing tape. Oops, that one came off. Stick. Let's grab another one. Pulled a little bit too hard there. There we go. Okay, get all those off. Oh, there we go. So now we're going to kind of center over the top there and tape that so that the sticky parts will kind of grab onto that. So now we've got our cute little pig flying down behind. So when we go back to our card that we've already added our layers on, I'm just going to put a little bit of regular adhesive across the back of the watercolor paper. I'm going to center that on the card like so. And then I'm going to take the "So She Did" words and stamp that across the bottom directly on the pattern paper. Sorry if you see my shadow, I'm trying to get up over top there. So I've stamped that across the bottom. And now we're going to go back to the pig stamp. And you want to make sure, you're going to hear me spritzing out to the side, you want to make sure that it's really clean, the part that we already stamped. I'm just going to take my paper towel, make sure I've got a lot of the ink off so that if there's any ink on the pig, it won't transfer when we stamp out the words. Okay, so I've gotten that pretty clean. And again, I'm going to take my just regular Scotch tape, and this time I'm going to cover up the pig. And if you're worried, you could cover up the entire thing, but I'm just gonna cover up just the bottom. Take my ink pad and just kind of hit it with the edge there, just so I'm sure that I'm getting the words nicely inked up. And again, be sure to remove the tape before you stamp or you'll have a big blobby mess. And once again, I'm gonna get over the top here and stamp the words across the top like that. So that is our card using this little Piggy stamp set. I love the touch of the window plastic in there. It just gives it a really nice realistic look. And the shimmer and the glitter from the Wink of Stella pen is really fun too. So I really hope that you enjoyed this card tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to check out my channel, it's kind of new. I don't have a ton of videos, but I'm going to continue to be posting more card tutorials and projects for you. So again, this is Heather. Thank you so much for joining me today and have a great day. Bye.